But Nation, focus me, you said it. They found their first blood of the series. And what a way to do it as well. iBoy and Mako finally punished for their over-aggression. Now they have no sub.
Given the fact that they've... Even if Jensen does end up playing near Kali, throwbacks continue, Jarvan hovered there.
Yeah, and that makes sense to me because when you play against Urgot, you're pretty much playing against a melee champion that wants to dash in, use the shotgun knee, so we'll have a chance to stack it up, not to mention the fact so you are going to be able to get the proc, not to mention the fact that there's a great wave with Shroud as well as the Q. He'll have it up and available as often as he wants.
See the lane here start, Jensen.
Got the solo kill.
Scout does it once more. He is decimating his lane opponents, regardless of who he goes up against. He's able to find these outplays. Now on the Syndra, he kills Saros.
Saros down on that trademark pick yet again. We talked about how good he was on this Heimerdinger, but it seems like EDG just has the pick all figured out. Haro walking forward now, gonna eat a lot of damage there from Steel. That's not a fight you're gonna win, man!
Him!
Solo kill!
Steel now 2-1-1 on the Nocturne. It was he who found the Lee Sin in the jungle, and if Nocturne gets that first hit, he's able to proc the lethal tempo, and he was able to find out the kill. Haro, he did, I'm not sure if he had a control ward in his inventory or not. I'm gonna assume he didn't because he didn't jump out to safety. And if he had, he would have gone away with his life, but Steel threw down the smite. He has the red buff tick over, and now he's got the completed jungle item. DFM, even though they've lost a couple kills across the board, there's still a very clear win condition, Captain Flowers. We just need to see Steel use the advantage he's now built up for himself.
There's also a very clear 1 kill per minute so far in this game.
Here we go, level 6, level 6. This is the bot lane play we were talking about.
Steel wants to make this one happen. Xayah ult not available yet, still only level 5 for iBoy. Mako, the same thing being said for him. Steel's hanging out back here, doesn't want to accidentally walk over a ward by going too far forward. Vivid looking for the opportunity to go in here. Steel's going to decide to start things off on his own. Can they find the CC? They've got iBoy knocked up into the air. Steel grabs the first kill, and they'll walk out with that success.
Beautiful stuff from Nation. Focus me. Exactly what we wanted to see. You get an extra kill onto your Nocturne. Great use of the ultimate. The Shen ulti is still available as well, and the fact that you're putting iBoy behind, getting Yutapon into a position where he can be a big carry is great for Nation. Focus me as the game progresses.
Haro trying to make something happen here in the top side. Almost seems like they've switched up game plans, where it's now EDG trying to make plays top after Detonation. Focus Me already finds their success bottom side, and now they're knocking down this tier 1 turret. Something Trist is adept at, so getting better at as the game goes on, but getting first turret money in your pockets 8 minutes into the game is fantastic for this team, who now have themselves a gold lead.
Great to see from Nation. Focus me. Game 3, they're not down and out. After the first 2 games where EDG just stomped and controlled DFM in the early game, they are now bouncing back, and it's off the back of their jungler Steel, the man that the team often relied on during their regular season to get them their early game leads. Is now 3-1-1 against EDG and has everything that he needs to help them get through this part of the game. Ulti is coming back up soon. We need to see him keep the pressure up. He could go mid, there's no flash there, or he could continue his pressure down bot where both iBoy and Mako have got their summoners back.
Absolutely just needs to stay on the map. Keep this gold close. Here's a gold graph showing the difference between Detonation, Focus Me, and Cloud9 on day 3 of the play-in group. But now Seros going to be in some trouble. Haro's got the damage on that one. They'll pick him up. And that is Edward Gaming getting themselves kill number 5.
Detonation, Focus Me. They also have to respect that EDG can be proactive on the map themselves.
Yes,
and the long-range ulti from Ray was a great setup when Seros did not have his flash available. The chain CC from Scout and Haro together was enough to find themselves a kill onto the mid laner. And Seros, he hasn't had a great series. A lot of attention has been thrown towards him.
Yes.
And at 0-2-0 right now, EDG find the kill advantage once more.
I mean, a lot of it, too, I think, has to do with the nature of the pick. Heimerdinger is one of those champions that doesn't have any inbuilt escape mechanisms, naturally pushes the lane, naturally encourages you to want to gank him, and EDG says, much obliged.
And in most instances, it's really difficult because whenever you try to get close, the turrets can often swing a gank back in your favor. But when an Ornn ults from half the map away ends up hitting you in the face, like, what can he do, right? Like, so it's a very unfortunate situation for Seros to be in. His flash is now back up. And the laning phase should get just a little bit easier for him.
Still within 1,000 gold here for Detonation, Focus Me. They do drop that first Ocean Drake, but that's not too big of a deal just yet. You are seeing the lanes get flipped upside down now as the bottom lanes head topside and vice versa. Evie down 20 CS compared to Ray, who is going for the Iceborne Gauntlet build this time around on the Ornn, supplying a little bit of extra damage and trading potential against his opponent. Seros gonna just kind of have those turrets deleted instantly now versus the Syndra, as the Rift Herald will be started up by Detonation, Focus Me.
This will be spotted out though by EDG, and with the Syndra and Lee Sin, you would expect EDG to be the stronger at this point into the game. And you can already see them moving up. Ornn has rotated up as well. Evie still has his ulti, so he could join the fight, but I don't know if DFM want to go for this.
Oh, I think we're going to have a fight for it, Medius. Seros is coming in from the side, looking to find the damage. Steel goes into the fight already, looking to make something happen. It's a multi-man charm coming in through the quickness, but Vivid's already down. Steel having to get himself away on this one. Flash out from Seros as well. Ray goes over the wall, still looking to chase after, find that CC. As Evie's going to be looking to block people off, finding the taunt. And Horo's taken out by Utapon. Evie still looking to get himself away from this one. iBoy trying to provide some chase in that damage. But Mako will not be able to bring the CC to keep them close by.
Ooh, it looked like iBoy was going to drop right at the beginning of the fight, but both of his summoner spells had come off of cooldown, and he flashes to safety. EDG then start to turn that fight so heavily in their favor. And we talked about the strength at this point in the game, and you could see EDG, with the champions that they have, with the amount of damage that they had at their disposal, were just in a better position to win out on that fight. Fortunately for DFM, it only ends up being a 2-for-1 in favor of EDG, but DFM, they need to slow things down a little bit. They need to wait until they hit those crucial power spikes before they look for another fight like that.
They seem so ready to skirmish, Medius. Let's take another look at this crazy fight.
So you can see the multi-man stun coming out from Seros means that he hasn't been able to get any turrets down just yet. At the last second, even though the fear lasts onto iBoy, he gets his ulti off and then gets to safety. And this is when EDG start the chase. Scout, he'd already used his ultimate, so he can't really get the remaining damage down. And then just in the last second, I believe it was Scout that secured the kill onto Seros, but he very nearly was able to get the kill down onto Scout. That could have swung the fight in DFM's favor, so it was close. You can see that if they'd had a couple more items under their belt, maybe things would have gone a bit better for them.
A lot of damage done in that last fight, specifically from Heimerdinger, Tristana, Syndra, and Ornn. I talked about Iceborne Gauntlet, Ornn having some more damage. Well, he did the second most damage on his team in that one. Remember that early on in League of Legends, ladies and gentlemen, the base damage on tanks, pretty darn high. Yep. They can do a lot of damage if you line up in those AoE cones, ram patterns, everything else that Ornn's able to cause chaos in. It's now up to Detonation, Focus Me to just continue hanging tight here. Still not down that far. We're approaching that 15-minute mark. We use as the marker for when we're out of EDG territory. Udapon's hanging out in the brush here on the top side. He does have buddies hanging out in that river here too. Steel ready with the Nocturne. All that they decide to use it. I want to make them give themselves out. Right back to the jumble, picking up Vision. Honestly, that's what I'm going to be looking at a lot, Betty. Vision as we progress further into the mid-game. Who can set up the pick? There's so much potential on both fronts.
You're quite right. Nocturne really good at killing champions in the side lane. Now Seros.
Oh, Seros knocked back into EDG, and Mako knows how to make those Gragas plays happen.
He thought that with 2 controllers in the river, he would be safe to take that pathing. He did not expect Mako to just go up goes for the slam, body slam into the knockup, and then 4 members of EDG warmly embrace it. Saros, as he made his way into now, EDG have priority over the mid lane. They don't have the Rift Herald, but without any wave clear on DFM, there should be a tower going to EDG.
No Heimerdinger turrets to kill. Might as well kill real turrets instead. EDG takes themselves their second objective from their opponents this game. Earlier, they go up to a 2,000 gold lead as the bottom side of the stop by Ray now. Field trying to control over this river area, clearing out some control boards, but when EDG is hanging out and being grouped up like this, always somebody with somebody else, it's way harder for Steel to make the plays happen, as now they might be able to make this one go through onto Scout, who is going to be caught out, taken down very low. Shutdown credit over to DFM, goes over to Vivid on that one. Evie's still on the front lines here. Haro lands the Sonic Wave, but I don't think you want to resonate that strike anytime soon.
Now, Evie's ult was used in that pick, and arguably you didn't need it, given that you had 4 members primed and ready to get the clap done onto Scout. But regardless, DFM, exactly. They play it safe, they find themselves the kill, and now they're the ones sieging onto this mid-tier 1.
It's not about the kills, it's about what the kills mean. DFM want this one to mean a tier 1 turret, but EDG do a good job shutting that down.
And look at top and bot lane, because DFM invested so many resources into mid, EDG is able to push out both waves, and all this farm is now going to be lost to these turrets, because DFM were not in a position to take advantage of it. This is how these small leads start to build up bigger and bigger. Now Scout, he was just trying to go towards the blue buff. He wanted to secure himself the objective that belongs to him. Cool thing about the tether is even if you fear them while they're in the Zhonya's, it will stay attached. So they will come out of the Zhonya's feared as well if you time it at the right time. And that did mean that Scout ended up CC long enough to allow the rest of DFM to find themselves the kill. But unfortunately, no tower for them.
And like you said, not only did that pressure from the side lane make it so all those minions got lost, but it also meant there was more overall map control for EDG. They were able to take the Rift Herald like you just saw. They're still feeling very comfortable here in this game. 2,000 gold ahead. 1 turret up, 1 Drake up. Next Drake is alive. It is only Cloud Drake #1, so not really anything you're going to run in and pass the suicide over if you would lose it. So detonation focus me, likely not too concerned about that one overall. Evie still set up there in the bottom lane. Has teleport, but no ultimate on the Shen. Teleport also up for Ray, so if the fight breaks out, expect it to be Ev at the same time as Haro can clear this break out himself, and then continue with the rest of EDG. You can see Mako moving into enemy territory now, feeling brave enough with the lead he has to set up vision and start making this barrier.
You've got to remember though, 17.5 minutes in, the game is still very close. Only 2,000 gold separates the two teams, and if DFM can secure themselves another tower, that'll drop to about 1,000. DFM still have the late game win conditions as well. They have a Tristana, they have a Heimerdinger. So there's still plenty of opportunities for DFM to reclaim control over the map, and considering how dominant EDG have been throughout this series, the fact that DFM have been able to hold their own in this third and crucial game is very important to see.
Game #1 was just an absolute avalanche for EDG. Game #2, even though it was faster overall, it still seemed like DFM had figured things out a little bit better in the first game. And now game #3 seems like further progress. Still, but in the series, and right now, Syndra just yoinks that blue buff away. That's such an aggravating thing to deal with as a jungler, but EDG are going to say, that's the least of your worries, boys. Steals in some trouble as the shutdown credit goes over to Haro. Zero's trying to get himself away now as the damage explodes Vivid as well. They're trying to find anything in return. They'll grab the kill on the scalp, but they'll lose their top laner in the process. DFM lose that fight. 1 for 3. EDG coming out on top yet again. Mako's taken down by Unipod, making it 2 for 3 overall. But can he get away from Ray? He'll chase after him with the CC. So many slows, so many stuns, so much damage, so long Unipod.
And EDG find themselves 4 kills onto DFM. They have the Rift Herald in their inventory as well, and will look to break down the tier 2 turret in mid. EDG, they had 4 members, or in fact 5 members, all grouped up around that blue buff. DFM thought they could challenge. They made a crucial mistake, and now EDG has snowballed this into a 5,000 gold lead.
Knock knock, who's there? It's Shelly, but they're gonna close the door in time to prevent her from taking down that tier 2 turret. Let's take another look at how it all started.
And you can see that DFM, they feel that with this vision, they can set this one up. Steel tries to use the spell shield, but it gets broken by the Gragas. A good Gragas ulti combined with the kick knocks 2 members of DFM back into the waiting arms of EDG. And with a great ulti engage from Ray, EDG had everything that they needed to just collapse down onto DFM, find themselves 4 kills. The 4th kill can come from Unicorn, who did his best to kind of clean up at the very end, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to escape from the CC from Ray and the damage from Haro.
That was like the horn dream. Everybody was just lined up along this nice, straight, road-like path, and you can just spin the ramp, charging all the way down there. Well done by EDG. 4,000 gold lead now, 20 minutes into the game. Baron is alive. Remember the game time so far, 27 minutes, 22 minutes for EDG. Love to take a little bit longer, but honestly, you're 0-4 on your high season. Once again, hasn't been having a fantastic game for himself. An entire item behind Scout's Syndra. Luden's Echo, Hourglass, Sorcerer's Shoe versus just the Echo and the Shoe means that Theros has a long way to go to catch up to his counterpart.
And while we saw Steel with a great early game, he was ganking a lot bot lane. We only saw him find that one pick onto Scout, and then nothing else outside of that. We didn't see him moving towards other side lanes. We didn't see them looking for more picks. And when EDG were able to slowly blame the vision control over the map, it was them who was dictating the pace. It was them lying in wait for DFM to overstep. And they have been the ones to find these fights, and now they're looking for another one.
Uh-oh, Evie's in some trouble. Get away from the collapse. EDG bringing multiple people down here. Looks like Detonation Focus is top of the list today. But now things onto the Baron pit from EDG. They're saying, wait a second. We left this vulnerable. Last time that was a problem. Could have been a problem. Ultimately ended up being a wonderful gift. This time around, they don't want to risk that yet again. As Ray will take down the bottom side tier 1. That is the final tier 1 turret taken down now on the side of Detonation Focus Me. Affords EDG even more control over the map. But the Nocturne ulti is going to be used. Highboy gets himself away with the Xayah ult and the flash. Really being respectful here to make sure he doesn't get himself picked off. Not sure what the goal in the cast there was. Just got to throw out the party game.
He was looking for it. He was seeing if he could get any member of DFM who slightly overstepped, but now that's 2 big ultis gone for DFM. They still have the Rakan engaged, but it's going to be a lot harder for Steel to dive onto the back line. EDG will just use this opportunity to reclaim some control around the Baron buff, get that push out on the middle lane, clear out some of DFM's wards, and maybe look for a pick. Ray has also joined the fray. There's a big minion wave up top side that needs to be cleared out.
Ray went back and shopped. He's got himself 40% CDR now with the Kindle Gem combined with the completed Iceborne Gauntlet and Spirit Visage. So all that CC will be able to be applied that much more frequently. Very scary right now here on this horn. Also worth pointing out, there is a stopwatch in the inventory of Evie. So when he goes in on this Shen and taunt people up, he can do so with a bit more safety and security than what he would otherwise be able to accomplish. Inventories of the 80 carries looking pretty similar right now. Storm Razor plus Rapid Fire Cannon. Both these continue to scale up, become very scary as the game goes on. Still an 8 to 12 game overall. Still about a 4,000, almost 5,000 now gold lead. In the jungle, scouting around, throwing down some wards, maintaining control. Thinking about maybe making something happen here in the mid lane. Vivid's about to face check some nastiness. Gets kicked back. He's in some serious danger here, and Haro will take him out.
And another quick pick goes in favor of EDG. The Drake has just spawned, and they could look to secure that, but with the mid turret being so low, this should be another easy objective for EDG to secure. Ambitious if they want to keep pushing this, but they have a lot of their ultis available.
They've got ultis available. The big engage mechanism from their opponents in the Rakan ultimate is not available because he's still dead for another 10 seconds. EDG can just brute force down this inhibitor turret. Ray continues to go in, but Haro said, no, we're getting out of here. I'm not entertaining this at all. He's all the way back past the double while Ray's running forward. That he's not punished, but EDG needs to make sure they're on the same page here. This might be what we evidenced by a little bit of lack of clear love.
But we've seen I like the confidence from EDG to just group up and push down mid, just because they know that, hey, Huracan is gone and we don't think the fight is 4 v 5. That kind of confidence is really good to see, just because very few teams like take that. They don't want to run the potential of, oh, they still have 4 members alive, they may look to collapse upon us, but they challenge DFM, they secured a tower, they get the Ocean Drake as well, and while they have lost some control around Baron, they've been able to push out bot. Ray will go back to base and spend some of his gold. More farm will be lost, as Evie has actually grouped up with his team in the event that a fight should happen in the nearby area.
It's a 7K gold lead now, Vedius. It's the same story that we were telling in game number 2, where things were looking better at the start, but then as soon as there's even a moment of weakness from DFM, EDG is able to capitalize and punish. And right now, this team is in a phenomenal position to close out this game and close out this series and punch their ticket to the main stage group phase of Worlds 2018. I got my years mixed up. Not the best thing to do, but sometimes the best thing to do is set up vision around Baron, which is exactly what EDG is doing right now. Nice steal away on the Gromp too, so casual, walking up, thanks for the leash. Steal that one away, as Detonation Focus Me is now tasked with trying to maintain enough control over the map to not allow your opponent to free Baron, while not taking enough risks to get yourselves caught out.
Now the bright side for DFM is they still have the Tristana wing condition. Level 14, actually a level advantage over iBoy. Nearly completed the Infinity Edge as well. Means that at 3 items, DFM's team fighting is not the worst. And I'm quietly optimistic looking at how Yutapon has been playing this game so far. One to engage, if they're able to find a good pick onto either Scout or iBoy, maybe DFM can swing the fight in their favor, but obviously it's still an uphill battle. That is a very healthy gold lead that EDG have for themselves. As you mentioned earlier, a whole item sits on top of Scout over his mid lane counterpart, and Ray is just so tanky as well with 3 items as well. EDG are definitely still really strong at this point in the game, but I'm just looking at the potential, looking at the maybes.
You've got to look at the maybes right now for Detonation Focus Me, because you can't look at a game and say, oh yeah, here's how you absolutely win a game right now. That's not something that will happen. But there are some of those opportunities. Remember, this is EDG. This is a team that has had issues with this in the past. Only a couple days ago, it was a lead very similar size to this that they threw against.
And it wasn't Rakan.
It was a Rakan. This is EDG's weakness.
We just need him in the mid lane now, Flowers, and everything's together.
If they're in the mid lane and Rakan is in that leftmost bush, EDG's in some trouble.
That's it. That's the recipe for disaster for EDG.
But they're staying the hell away from that bush, and they're going right into the Baron pit instead. No vision over this for Detonation Focus Me. A blue ward being placed down. Do you decide to fight this now? It looks like EDG is going to turn it around instead on their own volition. Steel's taken very low, flashing himself away. Vivid looking to go in, find the team fight CC. Does manage to get it down onto a couple, still going to be taken down by Scout. Heavy goes into the back line to find iBoy. That'll at least clean up some of the damage on the side of DFM, but EDG may yet be able to take him down. Ray's going to solo out Yutapon if he isn't careful, as Evie finally falls to Mako, and Ray is going in and claps him right back into the spawn platform.
And EDG made the smart call there, not committing to the Baron, not running the risk of it getting stolen, immediately turning onto the jungler, finding a kill, and finding the fight. They now have 4 members alive. Ray is just zoning away Seros as EDG looks to secure the Baron.
EDG had quite a lot of tunnel vision there onto Seros. 2 different people also pulled away to help Ray, as Haro frantically pings Baron and says, no, I need help with this. But they will come back together. They'll secure the Baron. They'll secure the kill onto the enemy Heimerdinger. They'll secure themselves an absolutely massive 5-digit goal lead yet again. And it's looking like it's almost over here for Detonation Focus Me. This is nearly an insurmountable deficit.
DFM looked better in the later stages of that fight because I just had my eyes on Yutapon. Again, decision-making was great here. They knew they were going to turn the moment they saw Steel, flash straight onto him, burst him out, but then look at Yutapon here. He just melts through the AD carry. He nearly kills him if it wasn't for that stopwatch, but then Ray was like, oh, You want to play? Okay, let's play. And then he just shows how much stronger he is than Udapon with those 3 tanky items to finish. Just melting through the squishiness of the AD carry. The sticking power of this Ornn. Unbelievable. He really did bring the thunder. And kills on Udapon, and now EDG with the Baramba are making their way towards the rest of the event.
EDG deciding bottom lane is the way to go with this one. Remember, they've already knocked down the inhibitor turret in mid lane, so if they can push up this wave bottom, shove this in, take bottom lane inhibitor, you just immediately walk it 2 feet to the north and take the mid lane inhibitor as well. Seems to be the plan as Mako's on the front line there, looking for playmaking opportunity with the barrels. Plenty of minions lined up here, pouring damage in that turret already as Ray decides it's time to go in. Heavy's already been deleted, and with your front liner gone, there's not much of a chance to make a coherent fight happen. EDG are into the base. They've got the enemy Shen down. They're looking for inhibitor number 1. Haro goes in, looking to grab himself a kick. They've got some damage down, and Vivid's out of the picture. EDG are moments away from winning this game and taking this series. Nexus turret number 1 now under pressure. DFM trying to hold on at the very edge of the base in the fountain. They've lost their AD carry. They'll lose this game, and EDG are looking to end them here. Seros finally falls. Ivoy grabs the kill, but dies on the steps of the fountain itself. Minions putting the work into the remaining Nexus turrets. It's steel against the world, but the world will win today. EDG will take this series 3-0 and advance to the main stage.
Edward Gaming. They looked very convincing in their first 2. The third one was a little bit more of a challenge. DFM made them work for it. But in the end, good decision making, great team fighting, and Ray really stepping up. We saw Iboy in game 1, we saw Scout in game 2, and Ray in game 3 with his use of the Ornn ultimate, his pressure in a side lane, his team fight impact. Really impressive stuff from the top laner of EDG.
And while we celebrate the victory of EDG, I want to applaud the grit of Detonation Focus Me, getting the representation for Japan through the play-in group stage for the first time at one of these international events, getting themselves into a best-of-5 versus the team that a lot of people looked at as the single strongest team in play-ins, and adapting throughout the games, not enough to find a win, but enough to clearly see progress from game to game. This is a team that did their region proud in play-ins. They went further than they ever had before. And honestly, they can hold their heads high as they walk out.
And Detonation Focus Me are considered the strongest team in the LPL. They have been for a while. And you can only imagine that moving forward, they'll continue to grow, single and strong, and the next international event will progress further and further, because this team has a lot of potential. And going up against EDG is no easy task, because they are one of the strongest teams that we have at the World Championship, and in Game 3 they definitely had an ample advantage.
Detonation Focus Me put up a hell of a fight, but also the might of EDG was too much to take. Break down that game and the entirety of that. Let's pass it off.
Welcome indeed to World's Cooldown, where we break down the day and look towards the matches coming up tomorrow. With 2 knockout series on the books, let's see how today played out, and I think we should start with what we just saw. EDG versus Detonation Focus Me, 3-0, and Raz, you were saying right as that game ended, it looks like EDG is just getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah, because that was the most confident I've seen from Haro so far at World's Play-ins. We needed to see that. He got in his Lee Sin game. For a lot of people, they'll look at that and say, well, that game doesn't count, but for him to be able to come onto a game that was nearly assured in the series and prove his worth going into group stage, really well done.
I think it absolutely counts, especially when you compare it to the game he had against Infinity, right? This is his first Worlds win, and that is actually meaningful as they move on to the group stage where the teams get better and better. And I'm going to regret this the moment I say it, but coming into Worlds, I had EDG as the top 6 team of the World Championship, so they need to look convincing during the play-in stage, and I think today they did that.
Well, and I think when we just saw the scores there, that's actually what you want to see from a team that's coming in from a team from the major region. And I feel like C9, of course, had a bit more trouble with Gambit, so, you know, you can make your own conclusions off of that, and you will in just a bit.
Would those be?
Well, I'm going to ask you in just a bit, but I think the key here is that those are 2 very different best-of-5s, and possibly the EDG scenario is the one you want to have, right? And especially Haro, you mentioned it already. He came in, he dropped that game versus Infinity. You said need to shake up the stage with it. Well, playing a Lee Sin and playing it almost to perfection will probably do that.
It's funny. Usually, you'd expect people to come in with the Lee Sin to begin with and see if it fails to begin with, then you hop onto something else. But some of the LPL junglers have been really in game clutch moments. Haro is an excellent example. I know at some point we'll start rolling the highlight packages, and the fact that he's able to get the excellent, alt Lee Sin flash alt kicks into another member to get the execute damage. Just the small, like the details like that is just a good reason why you'd love to see him. And we didn't get to see too much of his kindred. We'll see more of his carry picks as we go on in the tournament.
Well, speaking about carries for EDG, looking forward, Jad, both Scout and iBoy has been super impressive, and I think will be serious threats for anyone they go up against.
Exactly. Last year, iBoy was that 80 carry prodigy, and Scout was this incredibly inconsistent, high-risk, high-reward mid laner. We're seeing more of the high reward and less of the cost of the risks they were taking. The Akali game, I think, was very high risk, but it was his best game of the series. I thought he was the top performer on the team in the regular season for EDG, but also here in play-in, so he's been able to carry a lot of that success through, and he had a really good day today.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm really looking forward to seeing in the group stage. We touched on it already beforehand, but I really believe that this could be kind of, and it sounds silly to say breakout because he's always been a fantastic mid laner, but I do want him to have this like coming of age moment on an international stage in a tournament like Worlds.
Exactly. There's a big difference between being the guy who subs in for Pawn, that's what he was in 2006, subs in now with Pawn, or being the guy that gets a CS lead on Faker to ultimately lose the game, versus being the primary carry on a successful Worlds team. So this is still an opportunity for him to break out, even if he's been out for long.
And honestly, he provides focus for the squad, something they've been lacking quite throughout the year. Bringing in between Clearlove and Haro, what it is, he simplifies the game. With how talented he is, how well he's playing right now, during the regular season, it was just play with Scout, and you'll find your win mid lane, and then throughout the team fights, iBoy will start coming. Now the 80 carry meta is really starting to come up. iBoy is coming in a lot more earlier than you would expect during the comparison to the regular season. And so the tag team, Scout and iBoy is honestly what you have to be able to track for this team.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know it by seeing his player cam right there, but I feel like he's a really arrogant player, iBoy. Like, even just the rocket jump he did very early on here, like, he did disrespect his opponents in a number of places, was not necessarily punished for it during this series, even not getting the Xayah ult off on a slow Heimer grenade that was coming towards it, but he still had some of these big pop-off moments, especially in this game one when they had the Nautilus versus Threat matchup, punished really hard early. Rouse pointed out that he delays his ultimate a lot on Kai'Sa, which is very effective, and I think he had another good series.
And I remember people out there, global audience, will know Mako and Deft as a duo being excellent during the international stages. Mako and iBoy is something hilarious to watch. Because a lot of the time, even if you listen in to the comms for the team, it's Mako pulling him back and letting him go when it happens. So as you were mentioning, the fact that iBoy just jumps in at the end of the janitorial, that's where the multi-kill comes off. You usually hear Mako say, okay, now you can go. And now it's time.
Tells him when he can go in.
Too many times during the regular season, does it not pay off, and he gets the chance. You can really tell the relationship between them at near the end is really paying off.
Yeah, and I think most people know this by now, but Mako has been the guy that for the last 2 years has been trained to be the new captain over Clearlove of that lineup and the shot caller. So I can only imagine what it's like to have to shot caller and have to move kind of puppies who's wanting to go on forward in lane. But now, I don't want to sell the other members of EDG short because I'm looking forward to where they could end up in groups, right? And let's just say they end up in the Team Liquid Mad KT group. That could be very interesting. And besides Scout and iBoy, I think Haro was impressive in this game. He had his moments. Clearlove is always there, of course, and really solid rock. Ray has been phenomenal at times. Mako, even from a mechanical perspective and a counter perspective in the support. All of a sudden, this is shaping up, as you say, as a top 6 or more team. Very, very scary lineup.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see which group they eventually get drawn into. If all of the favorites win, it's going to be between that Group A or Group C. But in the Group C that you just mentioned, I think they're absolutely competitors in that group. I think especially with the growth that the LPL has had this year. Probably not for first. I wouldn't predict it that way just because I have KT as my favorite for the World Championship. But I think going up against Team Liquid, iBoy has great mechanics, right? Scout, if they play through mid lane, could potentially go up against Belter in a really fortuitous way. But the worry for me with EDG is you see all the positives in the play-in stage, but you don't see as many of the negatives. And they were the 5th place team during a lot of the LPL summer split. They had an identity crisis in the year figuring out how to play. Like, it worked in that game when Ray is solo killing people like he's on a carry when he's actually on a tank, right? Because he had all the gold, and that's how he really wants to play. But that's just not possible against a lot of these other teams. And if they can't craft the right team compositions, they don't necessarily have a great mix of player strengths that they can consistently hit.
And on top of that, they're of course also fighting against this whole EDG never got past quarterfinals at Worlds or won that best of 5. Now they have, of course, but going into groups and going up against the top dogs is a whole different story. So I think they have a lot to fight up against. But Raz, it is my feeling that with some of that new blood, like iBoy and with Scout coming into his like prime time in this World Championship, this could be a different story. How do you feel it as an LPL expert?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I always get burnt. Last time round, like every year it comes through, I had EDG coming out of the stages. Last time round was obviously just like so I think they're putting in a good amount of effort in that adventure. I think Team Liquid has a tough draw. I think North America has a tough draw.
Would have, yeah.
I think with Team Liquid, if it goes down to that versus EDG, that the individual talent, Scout versus Belter, is going to be a rough one. I think that Ray matches up well with Impact. And I think the individual talent coming in from xSmithy, the best of the West jungler, versus Haro and Clearlove. When it comes to team fighting, I need to see Team Liquid get challenged in that one, where EDG, they definitely got challenged in the LPL time again with team fights. So I would love to see that coming into the group stages, but I have EDG on that.
Do you want a small reply before we move on? Or?
I'd rather have G2 and Team Liquid's group.
Well,
there we go.
I think a lot of people would. There we go. So we'll see how that plays out. Then let's move on for our next conversation about the match that we saw now a couple of hours ago between North America's Cloud9 and the LCL's Gambit Esports. Jan, of course, you weren't here to analyze it, but it went all the way to 5 games. I just want to preface this with a little food for thought, right, before we go into this. We're obviously looking at this C lineup as a lineup that is an organization that is super experienced with some members that have been there. Now that it's gone to 5 games, and now that we saw some close games in the playing stage, should we not just look at it with a different lens in that they have 3 rookies that have not been here? And should we then possibly look at it a bit differently? That's the only thing I want to throw out there because I know we have our doubts, right? That's the only thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can start. I was ready for all of the flame and the jokes if they wouldn't have made it. And you can still make the jokes, right? 5 games, that moves it to 9 in the play-in stage. They're getting as much possible practice. By the way, this is our 3rd seed, not our 2nd seed. Don't worry. Just wait until we get to the stage. But the reality is, C9 was seen by most as the 2nd best team in North America, and that they were supposed to be able to roll over this Gambit team. But I like the point you bring up about the inexperience of the rookies, because that is very real, and so often that is looked past. Outside of the NALCS studio, Blabber and Licorice haven't really had good years, right? They got 3-0 in the finals against Team Liquid, and then when they came back here, then they were able to beat TSM. So I think actually getting settled will be important, and they should play a little bit better come group stage, but the inexperience, I think, shows in a lot of those moments when they can't really play more than just the one way.
Well, I think we should have put that out there. I'm glad we did, and then now we can move on and look at kind of the things we actually need to see change or
I would go out and say that I think Licorice is surprisingly really settled in coming into the play-ins. He's come out, he's eaten a lot of bans from the enemy team. The team really respect his picks. So Urgot versus Aatrox matchup had down packed where they're now even taking away the Lissandra because of him. So there were a few moments where he had bad moments, rough moments, but I felt like he was the standout performer alongside.
He also had a game-winning play with the Lissandra, right? So I think for him, there's definitely very much or positives to build on.
Yeah, Licorice was a big contributor to all of their wins in their series. It was a 5-game series,
Yes.
but the games they lost were relatively close and drawn out, and the games they won were stomps. So it was a decisive 3-2, as decisive you can possibly make that. And his champion select threat is going to be a boon for them when they move into the later stages, because there's also the chance, right, and especially with EDG or a lot of these other teams, you don't want to show that much in the play-in when victory is supposed to be a certainty. C9 got pushed, and I think in that last game saw what they really wanted to do. They want to play Ryze mid, Kai'Sa bot lane, Alistair, right, for Zeyzal, stuff like that.
And I think the positive there is when they do play that, they look much better, and they look actually very, very intimidating. And one of the things there is Sneaky, the guy that's been there forever. For me, again, brought home the bacon for C9, especially in that last game.
Yeah, he's been the most consistent member of C9
For 5 years.
Exactly. Yeah, literally. But during the play-ins, he's been doing very well for the team on the Kai'Sa. The real question mark is if Draven started to come through. The first pick when they were securing group stages, I thought that was just high. Suddenly you bring it out in the best of 5, and you can still come out and say that maybe they were looking past Gambit in the series. But it really feels like, for whatever reason, they feel like they're Draven threat, lane domination, and how they play it out. I wonder if that's what they want to bring into supposedly the group of death.
Yeah, exactly. And he points out there is that if the favorites win tomorrow, so if T-Rex and G2 win tomorrow, they aren't sense of vitality. However, Sneaky, 6th year at the World Championship, has only failed to make the quarterfinals once, and that was in 2015. So he showed it in that Game 5 of the series. He is a clutch, untiltable performer, is what it really feels like in these big moments. So I don't think they're going to be pulling out Draven Thresh when they're up against Uzi Ming, but
it's not going to happen.
It never hurts to have it in your back pocket, right?
It doesn't hurt. 2 more things I want to bring up about C9 after what we saw today. We saw now the Blabber after 2 games. Okay, we'll bring Svenskeren in. We will see what we do. We heard from Reaper beforehand. We are going to bring him in just so he gets a couple of stage games. Looking at everything, we have like the glaring mistakes that Blabber made, but I think he had a pretty good performance overall if we look at everything. And is this now turning into kind of a strength? Because we talk so much about this Fnatic 6-man roster, right? Or other people. But is this now turning in for you guys to like a valid 6-man roster? Or is Blabber still a risk factor?
So I don't know how you feel about this guy, but this is giving me RNG vibes. Literally, Karsa and MLXG. Blabber, when he came in, there is the stark benefit of just, where the fights are starting. Blabber is very much headstrong, where if there is a lack of direction beforehand, there's certainly direction. That's what I really favor.
There's only
Blabber.
one direction.
He is, and it's a good ban.
Yeah.
The fact that he just goes forward, so I really like that coming out of Blabber, but I think the better of the two, funny enough, is Svenskeren. In the more hard for Blabber to play and say he came in early, there first, and that's what I like.
I think you nailed it. I do think it depends how you look at it if you're trying to decide if it's a strength or not. What it is it's an ability to cover up each other's weaknesses.
Yeah.
Because people forget that Svenskeren was playing really badly in the summer split before Blabber came in. So I don't think C9 has an ideal opponent right now. You would love it if you had a guy who could give your team direction and was consistent. They don't have that. Blabber's an inconsistent player who gives them direction. And then Svenskeren can still be the common presence, but he's not been performing at a Kar'Sa level, which is what I think they would want in an ideal world, which is why they're still playing both.
All right. Final thing before we move on. Jensen, today, I don't think was very impressive. Do we have any reason for concern, Jet? After, usually when you watch him in the NLCS, he is a very consistent and good factor for C9. This seemed a bit out of order.
Yeah, I think it is a moment for concern because Jensen has actually struggled in a lot of high-pressure situations in the past. It's another one of those things where it was nice having Golden Glue there. Obviously, teams can only bring the 6-man roster to the World Championship. That is part of the rules, and he is, again, the sole starter. I think there's nothing they can do about it, but they're not happy about how he played today.
Okay, Russ?
I would agree with that. I think that there's stark moments. You'll look at that. Hopefully he gets better at that, but it's a hard thing to really get over nerves in those situations.
It is. Hopefully now some of the jitters are off now that he played in the playing stage. So C9 and EDG are through, and for more on how we want to in groups with EDG, obviously cut up with this top four.
Thanks, guys. I am here with EDG. Frank, congratulations congratulations on the win. I mean, 3-0 stomp. You guys were the clear winners. Just how far can EDG go at Worlds?
First, I want to say I played in NALCS last 1 year. So I can speak English a little bit, but right now I have to say Korea because I'm so much forget English, so I'm a little bit scared. Yeah, I'm so sure.
그래서 이제 첫 번째 질문은 이제 EDG가 정말 압도적인 승리를 거뒀습니다. 그럼 이번 롤드컵에서 어디까지 진출할 것 같으신가요?
제 생각에는 저희 팀이 지금 아직 전력이 풀 전력으로 올라오지 않았기 때문에 저희가 약간 아직은 저는 예상이 안 되고요. 저는 개인적인 생각으로는 일단은 그러니까 조별 예선을 먼저 뚫고 올라오고 싶습니다.
So I think we are not playing at our first potential, so I just want to make sure to get out of the group stage.
And you mentioned playing in NA before, and I want to kind of look at that because your former teammates Cloud9 just qualified for groups earlier today. So kind of reflecting, how would you say your year of boot camping with Cloud9 in NA really helped you get to where you are in Worlds?
네, 이제 신화원 국내에서 활동하신 거 언급하셨는데 사실 친정팀인 신화에도 지금 진출한 상태고요. 개인적으로 부트캠프한 그 경험 어땠는지 좀 궁금합니다.
부트캠프요?
약간 장난식으로.
일단은 제가 롤드컵에 와서 다시 C9을 만나서 지금은 되게 기쁘고요. 왜냐면은 제가 전 팀에 있었던 C9하고 다시 만날 수 있었고, 약간 예전 생각나서 저는 지금도 약간 되게 재밌어요. 약간 그리고 앞으로도 기대되고, 예, 약간 그런 것 같아요.
So basically, I'm really happy to see my old team C9 here, and I'm just enjoying all the experience with C9.
And you guys can either get placed into Group A or Group C, but are there any teams maybe outside of those groups that you're excited to play against?
네, 이제 그룹 A 또는 C에 갈 수 있는데 그 두 그룹이나 아니면 거기서 벗어났을 때 존재하는 팀에서 만나고 싶은 팀이 있을까요?
일단은 제가 가장 만나고 싶은 두 팀이 있거든요. 두 팀 일단 TL하고 C9을 가장 만나고 싶어요. 왜냐면은 저는 일단은 북미를 뛰었기 때문에 되게 북미에 대한 예정도 아직 가지고 있고, 약간 북미 팀이 잘하기를 바라는 일단 팬으로서 그것도 있지만은 일단은 TL 같은 경우는 저랑 같이 C9에 있었을 때 임팩트 선수하고 같이 있었잖아요. 그래서 제가 굉장히 많이 배웠거든요, 밑에서. 일단 그런 이유로 일단 TL하고 만나고 싶고, 두 번째 C9 같은 경우는 제가 전 팀에 있었고 제가 이만큼 성장했다라는 걸 보여주고 싶어서 우리 팬들한테 보여주고 싶어서 두 팀하고 같이 싶습니다.
So basically TL and C9 because first of all he played in NA, so he has huge love for NA teams, and also in terms of Team Liquid he learned a lot from Impact while he was in NA. In terms of C9 he just all the players.
I've heard those names loud and clear. Congratulations again and wishing you the best of luck. That's it for us here. Back to you.
That was awesome. From him trying to speak English and doing it very well to Amelie trying to get the sarcasm going with the boot camp in NA.
Hey, I'm just saying, Core JJ was nothing until after he played on Team Dignitas and won a world championship. Like, really.
Gravity chamber.
You never know.
Yeah.
What's going to happen after NA.
Well, let's take a look at some of the guys who did awesome today, the MasterCard players of the game. We see that in the first series, the awards went to Blabber for C9. Oh, I'm going ahead. So Blabber for C9, Loading for Gambit, Sven, Scaren, Kira, and Sneaker. So it's evenly divided between some of the carries on both teams, which I guess is good enough.
I was very happy that Kira came out and had a spectacular performance at the back end of the series, because the very beginning of it was having a rough go at things, including the group stages. So for him to really come out at the end of it and have that carry performance was really good for him.
And Sven Scaren snagging up one of them together with Blabber. So 50-50.
Right after he subbed in, you can see at work right there. Blabber, good game one. Real bad game two. Sven Scaren comes in. Good game two.
There he goes. And then the players of the game for our second series, only three, as it was 3-0. Mako, Scout, and Haro. No iBoy. I think it was difficult because he was always carrying, but we wanted to give the praise to Mako in the first game, so there we go.
It's always tough when it comes to A, Stomps, and B, EDG, just because of the fact that they have so many strong players. Look at Ray. He didn't get any recognition.
Yeah.
He used the orange to stomping people. It was rough.
I think you know, people will be happy, or players will be happy that you guys saw the support's role in that first game stomp, because usually they get left out. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's sometimes some supports think their job is way too important. They're like, I'm doing 95% of the lane, like really all you gotta do is like this. It's hard for both of them, but in situations where it's like 50%, that's very good.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, and tomorrow also we'll know where C9 and EDG will end up. So let's take a look at the current groups for the next stage of World, so we can start theory crafting just a little bit. So if all the first seeds qualify, C9 will most likely be placed into the group of death, which is Group B, correct?
All right, so if you are a fan of the North American LCS and Cloud9, you were also a fan of Infinity. Let me tell you about these guys.
So really, chat, by the way, yeah, the only reason why you would ever vote against EU is no, as an NA fan, you
Hey, I'm just saying that if you want C9 to get out of groups, that is the best chance. It has nothing to do with EU.